This week on the Rouge, White, and Blue CFL podcast, the season has started. Well, sort of. We're going to be talking about this season. We're going to be talking, maybe marginally about last night's preseason game. It's not June yet, but season is on. Good morning and welcome to the Rouge, White, and Blue CFL podcast. My name's Oz Davis. I'm the co host of the show. And joining me, as always, is my co host, Joe Pritchard. Joe, what's up this week?
Well, what's up this week is that every year around this time, I get a year older. And the CFL gives me
Okay.
the greatest gift it could possibly give me another season.
hmm
This year will be my Dan Kepley season. So,
Well put. Well put. Okay, so let's do true confessions then, real quick.
uh-huh.
Is your birthday in May?
It is, depending on when you're listening to this, which is likely not going to be the day we record, because we record rather late in the US. Actually, Oz is living in my birthday right now. So,
Oh,
we're good to
wow.
go there. Yes. We usually
Wow. So
record
that's
about 9 o'clock Central, 4 a.m. Hungary time.
wow.
Always fun.
Oh, it's the international time zone effect.
hmm
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
So, where Oz lives, I'm Dan Kepley years old. Where
All right.
I live, I'm not there yet.
Ooh, nicely done. Nicely done. Um, okay. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show in the cold open, um, the first game is in, sort of. Preseason game. Calgary 26, BC 16. I mean, it's a preseason game. So you pretty much get what you expect. You get guys like Ishmael Hyman, you get guys like Sander Horvath, getting playing time. Okay, cool. Nathan Rourke threw a pass.
Yay.
And he didn't overthrow it. Right. One completion, 7 of 7. Hey, things look good for BC, right? Um, all sarcasm and snark aside, football action, Joe.
Yep, we're here.
Real football. Okay. Otherwise, in the news, we had a few rule changes, but it was pretty funny. You can tell that CFL fans are getting psychologically a bit stir crazy. You go to the official website of the league, cfl.ca, and you see these rule changes, and there is absolutely nothing earth-shattering. If you're talking about the Richter scale or whatever, this is around a 2.3. This is you can't feel a damn thing, even though it's happening. And yet, the comments page on cfl.ca, mind you, I don't have any idea what's going on Reddit
Never read the
right now.
comments.
Well, I'm just surprised at the volume of these things. I'm just folks are really into this rule change stuff, and it's just like, wow, you must really want football. You must want it a lot more than I do.
Yeah, and really, like I was saying, there wasn't a whole lot going on. A few tweaks here, tuck there, and just trying to iron out the rule book, which
Well, I
we've been
guess.
doing for what, 150 years?
Well, I mean, that's the thing about football, right? Is that if you think about a game like baseball, even think about a game like hockey. Okay, year to year, the rules do not change that much at all. Okay. I mean, literally, what are the major changes in baseball since Lou Gehrig was playing? I'm not talking about pitch clock. I'm talking about stuff that actually affects the game, right? Never. There's So few. I mean, the game would be absolutely recognizable to somebody 100 years ago today. Okay. But football, think about the evolution of football in the last 100 years. I mean, the first team to win the Grey Cup was a rugby club, right? I mean, that says something. At about this time, what they were playing for baseball, again, like I say, was completely recognizable. Hockey was completely recognizable compared to today's game. Basketball is another one. This thing changes. It changes the style of the game and thus the strategy every year in the off season. So I'm just glad to see no major changes. I mean, with this league, they've been messing with the rules quite a bit since COVID, since the post-COVID return. This year, I guess the big one was, just about advancing the ball on a fumble. There was also things about flagrant. What would you call that? A flagrant penalty on.
Yeah, it's making some of the more egregious hits
Uh,
easier to punish.
right, 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 and that's about it. That's about it. And you get your usual comments on that. We babysit quarterbacks and blah blah blah. I
You
don't
kind
buy
of
it.
have to, right?
Well, on one hand, that argument can be made, but on the other hand, nah, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I mean, football is a tough, tough game, and you're exposing one guy who is the object of ire of 11 very large individuals, you know, trying to annihilate him. I mean, you're not babying this guy at all just by putting him out there. You're not babying him.
Oh
You know?
no, but you gotta make sure that nobody can take a cheap shot at him, basically.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could make this argument about receivers too. Oh my God, you can't
Oh, and
destroy
they
the guy
do,
going over the middle. Uh,
and they're
yeah.
working on that too.
Right, exactly,
They
exactly.
added
That's
a
what I'm
low
saying.
they added a low hit on vulnerable receivers as well
Right,
as the high hits.
right, right, right. I mean, but nobody really complains about that. And I mean, again, I'm not against that at all. Jesus, nobody wants to see that. They don't want to see these guys getting smeared over the middle. Um. Okay. All right. But in any case, rant over. See, I guess instead of doing this, I should be commenting on CFL.ca, right? In any case, let's go on to this. Along with the CFL season being on, the Game Zone at CFL.ca is also on. It is way too early to be doing this. I will not be putting real serious money on this, but which you can do at other sports books not affiliated with the league. Um, it's the CFL regular season futures contest. Well, sort of regular season because they also have the Grey Cup prop. Regular season futures contest. And Joe, you said you wanted to go through this today. I understand that this segment has a sponsor.
Yes.
CFL fans fight cancer. Not truly a sponsor, but more like a partner. Okay, tell us.
So the CFL Fans Fight Cancer Group always runs a event at Grey Cup. One it is becoming very, very popular on the Saturday before the game. It's something that's been around for 20 years now. This will be the 20th anniversary, and it began in Winnipeg, and it's really nice that it's back in 2025 in Winnipeg, and they do a lot of different things. And it's really evolved in the last couple of years, I will say, where it's no longer just a one-day event. It is something that goes from literally the day after the Grey Cup to all the way to the next Grey Cup. It's CFL fans uh, raising money for a a specific spot or a specific cancer, um, either a hospital or for research in the host city of the Grey Cup. And this year, uh, beyond fans gathering and running small events themselves beforehand, I know over in Winnipeg they do a Banjo Bowl event on the Friday night before the game with some Saskatchewan fans that come on over, raises a raises a few bucks for CFL Fans Fight Cancer, and of course our friend Chris, who was bucket guy last year. You saw him on the TSN broadcast, setting the record for 9 different games in 9 different cities. He had a bucket for CFL Fans Fight Cancer, and he even got some mentions on TSN. Uh, and what's happening this year is there is actually a store over at CFLFansFightCancer.com that is open through June 15th. There's a pin available, a hoodie, or a t shirt with the CFL Fans Fight Cancer logo. So, um, plenty of things you can do. We do want the orders in before June 15th. Just that way we can get everything out before the Grey Cup. We're not going to be bringing merchandise there so that we don't have to worry about inventory or what have you. It's a one time shot. You got about a month to put your order in. Um, so everything is going to be everything is easy to read and see at CFLFansFightCancer.com. All the information is on the site as to how to order and what sizes are available and colors. Um, and also tax receipts for Canadians too. This is tax deductible. Uh, Looking just a quick glance, looks like you get a tax receipt for about half of the uh, price that you'd be paying. So that's definitely a another consideration to make too, because who doesn't like to save money on taxes?
Yeah, tell me about it. I got pretty nailed this year. Let's see. Okay. Right. So now wait a minute, Joe. That's CFLFansFightCancer.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of last season, the Rouge, White, and Blue made a donation to CFL Fans Fight Cancer. Did we not?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why was that?
Oh, something about a fantasy league that one of us won. That
Thank
wasn't
you.
me.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, you were telling me about this before the show about the CFL Fans Fight Cancer, and I was, prepping the show, and I just said to myself, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. I can get in a mention of my triumphant win over the well. Okay, this is the longest name in professional fantasy sports. This is Canadian Football Broadcasters Canadian Football Daily Fantasy League, something like this.
Yes.
um, Champion 7 seed going into the playoffs, winning the championship. So just thought I'd mention that. I assume I'll be defending my championship this year, Joe. I haven't heard anything from the league.
Me neither, but I will poke at them and see if there's still a going concern.
Yeah. Well, it's still a while yet. Anyway, long enough to plan a team for week one, surely. Okay, welcome to the Rouge, White, and Blue CFL podcast. My name's Oz Davis. I'll be the co-host of the show. Joining me, as 2 days ago, is my co-host Joe Pritchard. Joe, how are you doing?
Oh, all right. I mean, we had some technical issues on Monday, so we're just going to round out what we're going to do, and I guess we'll make 2 shows out of it instead of one. So, 2 for 1.
Bonus content. That's what you
Yes.
call that. Bonus content for free. Okay, so right, let's do part two of what I plan to do the episode. I fear how substantial this episode one of this series this week will be, but here's episode two, where we're talking about a nice feature that they have over at the official site, cfl.ca. Um, Under the Game Zone tab. So on your far right on the website, and that is the preseason futures. It's a lot of fun, although, as you will see, some of this is really gambling for no money. I think some of these questions, if you look at them on the statistical level, are a bit chaos theory, let's say. You'll see what I mean when we get there. The CFL Futures opens up with your typical question: which team will win the East? Okay, so Joe, why don't you take this one first? I'll do the West first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you wouldn't surprise me at all if you came back from the future and from December, came back to me tonight and said X is going to win the East. Unless you told me somebody from the West, then I'd be surprised. Any one of these
Really?
teams is
Okay.
capable of doing it. Ottawa's showing some really nice strides last year. Anything can happen in the playoffs, and they can get there. Hamilton seems to have a plan for the first time in probably 4 or 5 years. So I would, my guess is that they're a year away yet. They still need some time to uh, work off of the plan that Ted Gavea has in place, but it's clear that they know what they're doing now. Montreal just got there 2 years ago. They have faith in Davis Alexander. And it seems like the team that wins the division in the season seems to be losing it in the East final lately. So if they make the playoffs, they're in play. But I think Toronto's the strongest of everybody, and it just makes sense that if there's going to be a clear winner of the East this year, Toronto's the most likely candidate. They're the team that I think could go win the East and then win the East final at home, and I wouldn't. That'd be the most likely result in my mind.
Davis Alexander is the X factor in not only for the Alouettes, but for this entire division, maybe
Oh
even
yeah.
for the league. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't. The Alouettes stayed mostly pat during free agency. They were the first team to sign all of their draft picks. Okay. So they're ready to roll with what they had. It's just it's the only big change here is the new guys and Alexander. That's it. So he will this team will go as far as he takes them, as the cliche goes. I would have to be a blank-eyed optimist to take the Owls again for the second time in 3 years. So I won't do that. Unfortunately, I think the team in the East that had the best offseason was Hamilton.
Your
So I
favorite.
will pick. I hate to say it. I mean, mathematically, the pick makes sense. This is a team that hasn't been in the Grey Cup for the longest run, hasn't won the Grey Cup in this century. So just by the numbers, I would go Ticats. But again, I like what the Ticats did in the offseason. They ransacked the Argos on defense, especially. So they've got a new look defense. I didn't like. I mean, talk about your laissez-faire defense last year. You could score teams like a basketball game against them. Meanwhile, Bo Levy Mitchell had an MOP season, right? So if they can step up that defense just enough, I think that this is the favorite to win the East, and I think they have the ponies to do it. So if it comes together, great, they're going to win the East. And we talked about this on the deleted version. This is a long season, right? We can't take this first 4 or 5 weeks too seriously necessarily. I'm gonna guess. In fact, we're gonna talk later about which team has the best record, win-loss record in the CFL. I don't necessarily think that the Ticats could win this uh, based on regular season record. I think that they're going to win it through the playoffs. I'm just playing it safe here,
No,
but
that seems to be
I'm going to hedge my bets on this.
the if you're gonna make that call, that seems to be the way to make that call.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because, like you say, it tends to be lately, the last what 4 or 5 years in a row now. It tends to be the number 2 seed that's coming out of the East to be in the to represent the East in the Grey Cup. So, I mean, I'm just gonna hedge. I'm gonna hedge my fictional bets in this thing on the Ticats to win the East and somebody else to have the best record in the league. Um, okay, naturally, second question on the CFL futures page is which team will win the West? Um, I'm gonna have to go. I mean, disappointing for you, but true. Disappointing for you, and approximately what, half the fans in the CFL. I'm going with the Riders. I'm going with the Riders. I think that, well, I think some of this has to do with the propaganda we received last week uh, from the Piffles podcast. And I think that of the teams in the West, the Riders had the best offseason. I think they're going to have the most consistency of any team besides BC. They have the least roster churn, let's say, so far. Besides BC in the West, I think that consistency counts. And again, I feel like, barring BC, that these teams should, all four of these other teams should regress. And that, I mean, to me, that means that the Riders have the up arrow, and they're going to be tops. Now, if they start the season 6-0, 6-1, 7-0, I will back off this pick because I am determined this season not to be taken in by the first third of the season, in which lately the Riders inevitably appear to be unstoppable, and by the end of the season are in the middle of the pack. So, uh, Riders, unless they start 6-0.
Yeah, so Winnipeg's been on the top of the West pretty much ever since November of 29 happened or
2019. Yeah.
2019 happened.
Right.
Yes, it's going to have to come to an end at some point. The only team that seems to be in a position to make that happen this year is Saskatchewan. Uh, I'm going to make the pick of Saskatchewan. A lot of that's going to be determined by Trevor Harris's health, of course, but if they can keep him upright, they're in the best position of anybody to knock Winnipeg off because Winnipeg keeps making a slow slide down over these past few years, and he's getting close. They're catching up. I think Saskatchewan's the best positioned team to do that. I mean, if we get vintage 2022 Nathan Rourke, be season play,
Right.
I don't think Vernon Adams has the horses to make the Stamps go into first place, but he could do at least make them competitive. And I
Well, the
believe
Stamps went
Edmund,
out. The
yeah,
Stamps went out, and I think through free agency and the draft, they picked up something like 8 receivers. So they're really they're, they're gonna give Adams a lot of options this season. He's gonna have a lot of targets potentially because they just went out and grabbed whoever was on the roster sheet, saying WR next to the name. I feel like. So we'll see. Again, Vernon is a big X factor over there in Calgary. We'll see if any of these guys turns into a CFL receiver. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say Edmonton. They're gonna have to prove to me that they're worthy of picking any higher than like say third right now. So not gonna go so far as to say that they're ready to make that big step yet.
Picking Edmonton is a purely speculative pick. Um, Talk about your roster churn. They had a relatively conservative offseason this year, but in the last 3, 4 years, Mr. Jones was in there for a couple of years. I mean, this roster again has seen a lot of roster churn. About the only thing that we know is that Trey Ford start. Um,
Yes, but
Finally,
and for
there's no
how
coach
long?
development.
Who knows?
Right, exactly. Exactly. So we know that for the first couple 3 games, should be him. Okay. So a classic, let's say traditional third pick on this thing, this year is no exception, is will a quarterback throw for 5,000 or more? Um, I remember picking this last year, and basically I thought this came down to can Vernon Adams throw for 5,000 yards instead. Bo Levy Mitchell, to the surprise of many, went for 54-51. He was the only one to do it last season. Zach Clares came second at 43-36. And shocker of shockers, number 3 on that list was Drew Brown, who had 38 something. Um, don't think most people would guess that just off the top of their head. He certainly did not get the press of somebody who was third in the league in passing yards. But this is about this year. Um, there's a lot of possibilities here. No is the easy pick, but you pointed out in the scrapped version, Joe, that there's a few guys who have a chance here.
Oh yeah, Bo did it. Uh, I don't know if anybody else in the East besides Drew Brown has a shot at it. Uh, then Drew Brown's got to stay on the field to make that happen. Um, I mean, Vernon, if
Davis
they,
Alexander.
we'll see. I feel like Montreal was premature with that, but I've thought that they've made some wrong moves in the past couple of years that have turned out wonderful. So,
Mhm, mhm.
uh, you know, letting Kari Jones go and Danny Machocha taking over didn't seem to be the right thing at the time. Well, that worked out pretty darn well for them now, didn't it?
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
Vernon may have to be the offense in Calgary, so he's on the table.
Hmm.
And you never know about Nathan Rourke. If he can get
Yep.
it back going, he could hit six. So,
Right, right, right. Okay. All right. Yes, there's a few possibilities there. No is the easy pick here, but yes is the fun pick. What are you gonna
let's have fun.
what are you gonna go? You're gonna go with the yes? Yeah,
Yes, I'm
yeah,
going to go
yeah.
with fun.
I believe that when I filled this out, I put no, but I mean it is a good argument. There's three or four guys who could do it this year. As opposed to last year when I had like zero confidence in anybody doing it. Okay. Question four. It's kind of strange why they put this after the 5,000 yard question. Which player wins MOP? Right. So the list here is Bolivia Mitchell, Brady Oliveira, Justin McGinnis, Nathan Rourke. Okay, these are all good picks. And I'm going to say that I'm personally miffed at the league for putting this on here because I know they did this for me. Uh, the the fifth name on the list is Roland Milligan Jr., the defensive back for the Riders. And I know that they're trolling me here because every year I end up, stumping for a defensive player to win MOP in this league. So I know they're just trying to get me. They're just trying to get every Riders fan to get one wrong here. And of course, pick number six is the classic other. Other. I don't
Okay.
know. Th- this one's the poser. This one's the poser. I kind of feel like Bo Levy might actually be the good pick here. I mean, of course, mathematically, other is probably your best bet.
That's where I'm going.
Uh, could could be VA. Could be VA. I think if you take a swing, it would have to be Bo Levy Mitchell. Back-to-back MOP seasons. I can imagine that. But other is the smart pick.
Yeah.
What
And
would
if
you
you,
suggest? Okay, if this is other, who is it, Joe?
there's so many
Any
other
guess?
options.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
So
So,
limiting yourself to five is ridiculous if you're playing the odds here. But let's
right.
go over the five. Let's talk about it. Um, I'm going to eliminate Justin McInnes on the basis that your quarterback's going to get that award if he has an awesome season. So I'm just taking that out of the equation. Brady got the Western nod and last year because none of the Western quarterbacks stayed healthy enough or put up big enough
Right.
numbers. The only way Brady gets a shot at it this year is if Winnipeg is in the lead a lot late in the game. I feel like they're going to be playing Chase a little bit more often this season, and I think that would take him out of the equation. Although we know he can do it, right? If I have to make the pick out of the five, Bo's the pick. Nathan Rourke, I got to make sure 2022 wasn't just the perfect guy at the perfect time in the perfect
Mm-hmm.
place. I want to see him do it not 3 years ago. And with Roland Milligan, worthy, obviously, but teams have had a year now to go, okay, he's good. Let's try that side. So defensive
Right.
defensive turnovers created isn't an easy statistic to project. And if teams just
Mhm.
simply stay as far away from him as they can, those numbers are going to go down. People are going to sit there and go, "What's wrong with him?" Nothing. Teams are just going to that side of the field instead of that side because
Right,
they know if they go to that side, it's going that way.
right, right,
So it's
right.
nothing to do
It's
with him. It's actually a compliment that they don't throw at him, right?
right. Exactly, exactly. It's the Deion Sanders effect. How do you dominate a game by not even touching the ball? Right? You just eliminate that
Right. You
entire
have
side of
you
the
have
field
players
and
like
you 30-7.
yeah, and just in Winnipeg, they had Demario Houston. They let him go
Right,
after he had a big
right.
interception year. Trey Ford,
Mhm.
I'm sure they wanted to bring him back, but Edmonton threw a lot of money at him because he had a lot of interceptions. The next year, the teams are going to throw the other way. Like, did you hear much out of Demario Houston last year at all?
No, no, that
No.
was the
I
thing.
believe the injuries
Yeah.
got played into that too, but like,
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying that close attention to Calgary after like what, August? So yeah, if you can throw away from a guy like that, you're going to, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but you're teasing me by taking this seriously, Joe. I believe that Solomon Elimimian is not only the last defensive player to win this award, but I think he's the only one in this past 25 years.
And that's a lot more
I
of a
think.
and that's a lot more of a sustainable thing. A lot of
Yes.
tackling, a lot of
Yes.
disruption in the middle.
Right.
That's more
Sacks,
sustainable year to
pressures.
year than turnovers are.
Right. 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 Yeah. Hard to see a defensive back ever winning this award. Kind of a throwaway pick there for the Riders and for the defensive
It
fans in
was
general.
close last year for sure.
Uh-huh.
So, but it takes that kind of a season. Plus, quarterbacks have to be out of play,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
y that was a 50-50 in my mind between Brady and Roland Milligan. And I mean, given the colors I wear, me to say that is a huge compliment, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I still want to see it. I want to see a defensive player take this someday. But again, I think there's too many possibilities for monster offensive season by quarterback. Not all four of these guys will go down, right? Bo was available all season last season, basically. So I can't imagine that any of these guys would go down. Well, not all of these guys would go down, but who knows? It's a long season, right?
I mean, if Chad
Okay.
Kelly's back by the end of June, he's in the running for this, isn't
Yep.
he?
Yep. Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was kind of surprised that he wasn't on this list anyway, regardless of the
I
league
mean,
size.
VA's in play too if Calgary wins
Sure.
10 games, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So next question. Surprisingly compelling, really interesting question. Will a player have more than 12 sacks? Okay.
Hmm.
So here we go. I just looked at some recent history. Okay, last year it was amazing. The league leader was 8, and this was shared between 5 guys. Okay. 2023, Matthew Betts, 18 sacks for BC, 3 guys with 12. Okay. I think that was the year that I was really militant about a defensive guy should get MOP. 2022, Lorenzo Malden, 17 sacks for Ottawa. Sean Lemon with 10 was number 2. And then finally in 2021, no one broke 12. I think the league leader was 10 this year off the top of my head.
But remember,
Okay.
they played 4 fewer games too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that was the shortened season. Right. Okay. So you project that out. Let's see. So that'd be 10 for 14.
That'd be
So yeah,
close.
11 or 12. 11 or
Right.
12, right? For 18 games. Okay. So I almost feel like this was a bit of a coin flip. I would say by the numbers after last season, you would think that somebody could sneak in and get 12. Although, again, in 2022, you only had one guy over 12. And in
I'm
2023, you only had one guy over
I'm gonna
20.
say yes.
Okay. You're gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
It just takes one guy to get hot, right? And if
Right.
you think about it,
Right. Like
12,
Malden.
right, 12 or plenty of other guys too, but 12 is 2 sacks every 3 games. That's
Right.
doable. You have a 2 or 3 sack game and you've gotten yourself squared away for a month or two, right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you could be completely pragmatic about it. Um, okay. Um, yeah, I'm still up in the air about this one, but let's see. So only two guys have done this since COVID. Huh. Okay. All right. So you're saying yes? Okay, I'll say no, just to be contrarian. Okay. This one really should have been the previous pick. I should have covered this sooner. The question is, will Brady Oliveira go over under 2,000 total yards, passing? And I mean, sorry, receiving and rushing. Um, well, I'm gonna be the spoil sport here and just be pragmatic again and say no. Brady Oliveira has been on this incredible run the past couple of seasons, and I just don't know if he can maintain it. Who knows? Maybe he can. I mean, last year it was like he was continuing off of 2023, just unstoppable on both areas of the offense. Um, but I'm just going to be pragmatic and say no. We'll put him at like 1990 total yards.
I would have gotten mad at you if you would have said that number about 7 years ago, but we're past that now. Uh, I would say he almost has to if Winnipeg is going to have a home Grey Cup. He almost has to. Like that offense last year just didn't have the same spark. They're gonna have to get leads early and hold them. And if that's the case, he's gonna see a lot of action. He's gonna have to stay healthy. He's gonna have to put up that kind of production. I'm gonna say over because you said under, but really it's like he'll have to. Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise I'm going to a Grey Cup in November that I'm not gonna like the matchup.
I mean, okay. Who? Okay. If not the Bombers, all right. Who could you live with coming out of the West? I mean, obviously not the Riders. I mean, could you live with the Elks?
Anybody else?
Really? Anybody? Okay.
Anybody else?
Okay.
I mean, that's a referee talking. Like
Even
if I
Stamps?
could if yeah, whoever, right?
Stamps, no problem. Okay.
Like you don't want your biggest rival to get in, especially in your home stadium, like the Bombers
Okay.
did to them a few years ago, almost won the thing too.
Right.
That's the one thing you don't want to have happen. As just if I take off the colors, they might be the best story out west, and that might be for a neutral fan. Although it's very hard to be neutral about the Riders, you either love them or they annoy the crap out of you. Um, it's that kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
either they're going to have a bunch of people behind them because hey, great story, it's been 12 years, that kind of thing, or it's going to be not those guys, anybody but those guys. And like maybe Hamilton, like if it's a Toronto Saskatchewan matchup, maybe Hamilton fans go, okay, fine, Riders, fine, but like who
Lesser
else,
of two evils.
right? Like the Riders are polarizing, is what I'm trying to say, less than
Yeah. Oh
diplomatically.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. So great. That's the best segue. Best regular season record is the next prop on the futures card. Um, I don't know. It's hard to believe, okay, that the West is not balanced enough to prevent a Western team from getting the best regular season record. Um, I don't know. We do these preseason predictions and we tend to default toward the middle on the West last couple of seasons. Everybody's going to be within 12 to 8 wins, this kind of thing. Not sure that this is the case this year, but I can't see the Riders whipping off that many wins. As I alluded to before, I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna take the Argos to win the best regular season record. They don't have superstar starting quarterback Chad Ford. Meanwhile, until June, maybe even July. But they do have the guy that won the Grey Cup MOP to start the season. So I'm going to say the Argos rack up the wins, but I still got Hamilton coming out of the East.
Yeah, I think they're the. I think I'd agree with you on Toronto having the best regular season record. They're just the most well-rounded team altogether. It was kind of a creeping sensation I was getting the Saturday before the Grey Cup. It's like if you had to take any CFL team, take away the quarterback and plop them in the Grey Cup and still have them win, wouldn't it be Toronto? Then I had another beer and forgot
Of
about
course.
it.
Of course. Always. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Best to do that. Always always winning when you don't expect it is Toronto. Always. Backing into these things, going in 9-9, freak play. Always, it seems like
And yet they're
they
always
do
in the
that.
position to because they're solid all around. And one glaring weakness is going to drag the whole thing down.
Mhm. This is why we need a 10th team in the CFL. I
Well, I
can't. I
mean,
hate.
it
I
it didn't say the least losses because then obviously that's the Atlantic Schooners, right?
nice. Yeah, I mean, this is why I need that 10th team in the CFL is because I literally despise half the teams in the East. So I, I can't bear the thought of either Hamilton or Toronto being in this Grey Cup again. In the case of Toronto, my God. Okay, now here's a good one. I really enjoyed this one. I'm going to go against the smart money here. I think. Which player will score the first touchdown of the CFL season? Okay. So opening night is Saskatchewan versus Ottawa. All right. The list on CFL.ca is Samuel Alamus, the fantasy darling last season, Tommy Stevens, Justin Hardy, Eugene Lewis, and then you have any other red, black, any other rider. Uh, I
Where's the
can't really
option for an 18 to 15 opener with all field goals and
all
singles?
field goals.
Where's that?
Well,
I'm not
right,
taking that, but that would be funny, right?
right. There should be
How about
other.
somebody from game two?
Right, exactly. It should be any Alouette. you know. Um. Okay. Now, again. Well, see, I can't even say the smart money, right? Because the smart money would be any other player. But here you have any other red, black, any other rider, and that could be anybody. Right? So, not really the smart play here. I tell you what, I'm going to go with the fun pick, the scintillating pick, which is Tommy Stevens. Tommy Stevens tied for the league lead with 10 rushing touchdowns last year. Do you know who he's tied with, Joe?
Not off the top of my head.
Your guy, Chris Streveler. Chris Streveler was also had 10 touchdowns last year. So maybe he should be on this
Yeah,
list.
because Brady
If you
didn't
have,
score until late September, early October.
yep, yep, that's right, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So, I think this is one that I'll take a chance with. I'll go with Tommy Stevens. I mean, of course, I would love to see Eugene Lewis do it, an old favorite from Montreal. But I'll go with Tommy. Take Tommy here.
Okay, and I'm gonna go with Justin Hardy. I'm just gonna
Oh
play.
wow. Okay.
I'm just gonna play a hunch because Justin Hardy I rode
Okay.
for plenty of fantasy weeks last year. So
Yep. Yep.
if I'm
Hardy.
gonna,
Hardy was.
yep,
Go ahead.
if I'm gonna go on the board, that's my pick.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Maybe go with Tommy Stevens as your starting quarterback. Lots of money for the rest of the roster. Um, yeah, Emilus and Hardy both were quite the fantasy darlings. Emilus not every week, but Hardy every week. My God, he was good,
Oh, and
and
he
he
was
ended up being
cheap for the first half of the season too. It
yeah,
was like
yeah.
8, 9, 10 instead of like 15. It's like, okay, well, you're in.
Hmm.
Who
Hmm.
are you playing?
Now,
You're
didn't
you're
he?
playing. Okay, you're in.
Was he? Was he Ottawa's nomination for the MOP last year, or did they go with Drew?
Just I
I'm
put
trying to remember.
such little stock in awards. I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Look who I'm asking. I'm sorry. I shouldn't ask you
Yeah,
that. All right. So, all right. Here's another fun one. Will a kicker make a field goal of more than 60 yards?
I have
Now,
two
this is
questions.
one.
Two
Yeah.
questions. Is
Okay.
Sergio still a bomber? Is Mike O'Shea still the head coach? Because he's been known to call for over 60-yard field goals,
Okay.
even going back to Justin Medlock. So if those two are yes, so am I.
Okay. Wow. All right. Good thinking here. Okay. Yes. Sergio is still with the Bombers. Um, this was one I couldn't find. I mean, how many 60-yard field goals have there been, say,
Not a
in the
ton, but I feel like
20s?
Sergio had 2 or 3 attempts last year for sure.
Yes.
I know he missed
Yes.
one, but I think he made the other. He made at least one. That I know for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Feel like it was two, but without looking at the numbers, I don't want to say that might have been like the year before too.
Yeah. The field goal of more than 60 yards is, yeah. The fun pick here is, of course, yes. We are of the opinion, like some other CFL podcasts, that kickers are people too. Um, so yeah, let's say yes on this and pull for that long kick. Okay. And then finally, the traditional closer. Which team will win the Grey Cup? Um, oh my God. I think I have to go with the Riders here. Um, if wow. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine, but we could be looking at a season where the Riders go wire to wire and then win the damn cup. I guess that's what my predictions are saying. So, yep, I blame it on Piffles. Riders to win the cup.
I don't want to live in your reality. I'm going with Toronto.
Okay, well, I don't want to live in your reality.
Well, that'd be 3 out of
Okay.
4 for Toronto too, and then they can
Oh
start throwing
wow.
around the D word, and then
Yeah.
there goes the neighborhood. But I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Jesus. Okay. Um, and you went with Riders for Argos for best record too.
I went for Argos best
Um,
record. I'm pretty consistent
yeah.
on the Argos will surmount any problems that are placed in front of them because really beyond one game back in 2023, they've been the team in the East, right?
Oh yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, even I mean, as history proved, I mean, even the year last year when the Owls dominated, it was that was over by playoff time. Here come the Argos. Like they so often do in the playoffs. How do they do this? Okay. So I guess the question that's not on here is will there be a crossover? I guess you can
Hmm.
do that in the predictions up here. I don't know. It doesn't feel very likely
It's
this
not
year, does it?
going west to east, put it that way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 I think we're going to see some parity in the West this year. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up here. Next week we have a full slate of preseason games. So something interesting may come of that we can discuss next week. But for now, I think we're gonna log it off, right, Joe? You got
Yep. Nope. Let's
any other
just
bits? Um, should we let's give a shout out to CFL fans?
yeah,
Tell us
absolutely.
something about that program real quick.
Yep, CFL Fans Fight Cancer's event this year is going to be Saturday, November the 15th, over at Tavern United downtown Winnipeg, raising money for Cancer Care Manitoba. Uh, the event that has been growing for the past 20 years, and this year the goal is to hit $100,000. Last year, 75K came in Vancouver, as well as all the other events from beforehand, including our friend the Bucket Guy, Chris, who did the uh, 9 stadiums in the fastest amount of time possible last year and carried a bucket around for us and helped us raise a whole chunk of money. This year, there's also a store that is open until June 15th at the website cflfansfightcancer.com with pins, hoodies, and t-shirts. Uh, just going to do one bulk order and then ship out. So if you want some merchandise from CFL Fans Fight Cancer, start helping us build toward that 100K, that'd be fantastic. But your time is limited, so go ahead and make that call right now.
Great, great, fantastic. CFLfansfightcancer.com. I guess I can speak for Joe here and say that if the Rouge, White, and Blue does repeat as champions in the Canadian Football Podcasters Fantasy League, that we will donate to this charity again. That would be, by the way, that would be the only thing that could take away the sting of back-to-back Argos Grey Cups is back-to-back wins by Oz Davis in the Fantasy League. That
Let's
would be about the
let's get
only
a
thing that would
hundred
work for
K
me.
and then I'll be happy.
Right,
Then whatever happens on the field Sunday is fine by me,
right.
or at least
Excellent.
a little
Okay,
bit
Joe.
less painful.
Yeah, great, Joe. Great. Great way to put it, Joe. Good man. Good man. All right, let's get out of here for this week. I'm Oz Davis for my co-host Joe Pritchard. We are out of here, and we will talk to you next week, hopefully without technical difficulties.